Good evening, everyone. Today is on Saturday. It's a good evening over here. We hope and believe that our viewers and my panelists are doing okay. Maybe I'll give them first. I'll give them time to introduce themselves before we proceed into the issues that we want to tackle today. Mr. Miguda.
Good evening, our viewers. How are you, our host? Makubura, how are you
I'm,
doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Very fine.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Barak.
Hello and good evening, our viewers, and my co-panelist, Mr. Miguda. Good evening, and Mr. Mark, our host for tonight. I'm looking forward to having a constructive engagement, and thank you so much for availing yourself to join us tonight. Shukran.
Okay, thank you. You are highly welcomed into the show. So today we'll be talking about so many things. We've seen the president has started moving, has started visiting all parts of the country. Not, I don't really think it's right to say all parts. So far, we've seen him visit some places in the republic, and we've also seen him interacting with the people. We've seen him with the prime secretary today. Was in the at the coastal in the coastal region. He was also there with the speaker of the Senate. We've also seen the deputy president. He's been crossing the Mount Kenya region, and for the first time, we saw him change the conversation. We've always seen him as a tribal leader. Because he's been using because of his sentiments, he's not been sparing or choosing wisely the words that as a president or a deputy president he should be using to address the people. So there's much that we've seen. They still People are still talking about the nominees again. Uh, we saw top party leadership in the ODM were nominated by the president. The people are really speaking about it. And also we saw the president has started the issue of the IBC. So first, I would like to start with this. We saw the Azimio. We saw the Azimio party led by their leaders. They said that they have given Kalonzo the mandate to lead them as Azimio party. But again, we also saw High Excellency, the former uh, running mate of Raila. She's also written to the political party that she is exiting the party. Maybe Mr. Barak, what's your take on that?
Well, Martha Karua exiting Azimio coalition. For me, I think it's not very much impactful to the coalition because number one, now Kenya did not have even one single elected member of parliament. So in terms of the impact in the coalition, even in parliament, her impact is zero. And even if you look at the contribution that she brought in terms of votes, it was not very much impactful. So her withdrawing from Azimio coalition, I don't think it's very much of any consequence. And I think even Azimio itself, the main shareholder was ODM, and I think the fact that ODM has had some members of ODM have been nominated to serve in the cabinet. I think it has rubbed the feathers of other partners the wrong way, and that is why you are seeing all these squabbles in Azimio. And even those who are asking Kalonzo to lead them, I think it's Jeremiah Kioni and Eugene Wamalwa. Those are the only members who are there. But Eugene Wamalwa, I think he has around 5 members of parliament. Jubilee, Jubilee, majority of them moved to Kenya Kwanza, and I don't know if they are left only around four members of parliament who are still in Jubilee. So Azimio does not have any life. I think they just have to come up with a new outfit that will serve the interest of the likes of Kalonzo and Eugene and Jeremiah Kioni, because once there is no ODM in Azimio, I think Azimio does not have any life. Yeah, I think that's my opinion according to as far as Azimio is concerned.
Okay, Mr. Migula, we've not seen any communication from the ODM party that they are existing as a meal. But so far we saw communication from the parties which have been the parties like NAC, Wiper, DAP, Jubilee. They issued a statement that as time goes by, the person who will be representing their beliefs is His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka. What's your take on that?
I think the Azimio want to maintain the Azimio coalition. The likes of DAP, Jubilee, and Wiper, they want to maintain the Azimio coalition. You see, they want to maintain for Kalonzo to be the flag bearer in 2027. But it's high time they should look for another coalition. Maybe they should retain that OKA, One Kenya Alliance, that one for Kalonzo. So they invite other political parties. But you see, Martha Karua writing to political parties a letter that NAC Kenya want to withdraw from Azimio. I think Martha Karua is within a constitutional right, or the NAC party, because as far as our constitution is concerned, I think Article 4, Kenya is multi-party democracy. Kenya has many parties. So NAC being not an exception, one of the parties in the country, it can channel our way forward, because Azimio was made purposely to capture power in 2022, but they failed to capture power. So Martha Karua might be realigning to capture power with other coalitions. It's within her constitutional right, and we cannot deny her that right. You see, when ODM failed to capture power in 2007, Ruto moved to Uhuru camp and they captured power in 2013. So Martha Karua is within her constitutional right to move to any coalition so that he can realign herself to capture power. So I do not see anything wrong with Martha Karua moving out of Azimio. It's within the constitutional right, Article 4. We are a multi-party democracy as a Republic of Kenya. Therefore, I support Martha Karua fully.
Okay, thank you. Since the nomination of the cabinet secretary, especially these ones who are nominated from the ODM party, we've seen a lot of jottling from the party, disagreements here and there. We also saw We also saw a good number of members of parliament complaining, and some of them have actually even started fighting for the party leadership in the ODM. So my question to you, uh, maybe if we also look at the Azimio side, of course, there is going to be a fight when it comes to the representatives of the opposition party in the Azimio. Mr. Barak, are you seeing a possibility of more disagreement within the Azimio when it comes to appointment of the party leadership in the opposition party, in the opposition coalition, that is Azimio? And do you really think Azimio is going to exist in the coming days with the tough disagreement that we are seeing so far?
For me, I think there is no more Azimio. Every member should just realize that, and they should just start chatting their own way, and their own political for their own political survival. Because I believe Azimio served their purpose, and it after the 2022 election, the way my co-panel has just said, they was meant to capture power, which they failed. And once they failed, if you look at the history of coalitions in this country, once a coalition fails to capture power, immediately after election, they usually start to look for to explore other options, and that is why you see the Code Coalition in 2013 did not survive until up to 2017. By the time we are coming to 2017, we already had NASA coalition, and NASA coalition did not survive from 2017 to 2022. After 2017, immediately NASA coalition died, and now Raila's the coalition partners started looking for other coalition. That's why now we Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, and Wetangula came up with the OKA, or One Kenya Alliance, and Raila Odinga came with Azimio, and One Kenya Alliance got disintegrated along the way when Mudavadi and Wetangula joined Kenya Kwanza, and Kalonzo joined Azimio. So after 2022 election, the same thing was going to happen, and I believe by the time we arrive in 2027, we'll have two different functions that will be looking for ways of capturing power in 2027. When it's come to party leadership, the party with the majority in parliament is UDA. And if you look at the standing orders, the party with the majority forms the majority side, and the party with the minority, the party that comes second, which is now ODM with around 88 members of parliament, forms the minority leadership. So I think there is no. Some people will try to argue their way that they as ODM need to surrender this minority leadership to maybe Wiper or DAP. But if you look at the numbers that they are not able to form minority leadership, because Wiper has around 26 members of parliament, ODM has 88 members of parliament, DAP has 5, and Jubilee had around 26, but around 22 moved to Kenya Kwanza government. So it is only ODM that can form the minority leadership, unless otherwise. And you remember when NASA had some problems, and you remember when ODM dethroned Moses Wetangula from the minority leadership, because they argued that we have as ODM members of NASA of coalition, we have more than 20 senators, and we cannot be led by Ford Kenya with only one senator in the House. So this arguments usually comes up when it comes to forming party leadership in the House, and those who will have the majority in terms of their parties will carry the day. Even if a Wiper comes to start arguing that they need to lead the minority side, even DAP, if they argue that, even Jubilee and ODM. So whoever will come up with, whoever will have the majority in terms of who will be able to elect the minority leader, they will carry the day. So those are not issues that people should worry much about. But because I know the standing orders will guide.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
thank
May
you.
good your take on that before I play and to play a clip here.
So before you play clip, I would like to discuss about the doctrines of separation of powers, checks and balances. Our constitution is very clear that there is no opposition. All of us are in government because parliament was meant to be the legislature. So there's those checks, balances, and separation of powers. Parliament should oversight the executive. That's why you see budget is being made in parliament, budget making process. And the chairman of budget is from parliament. Similarly, chairman of finance is from parliament. So parliament as a whole should oversight the executive. So there's no provisions in the constitution that, because if you say that ODM is the minority or ODM is the opposition, after the ODM, there will be a time in this country whereby in parliament there will be new parties. They will maybe Democrat or Republican. ODM is not there for eternity, or the UDA. The previous 12th parliament there was Jubilee. Now we have KK. So if you keep on saying ODM are the opposition, ODM, no. The constitution was framed very well that we are all in government, but there is that doctrine of separation of powers, checks and balances, whereby the parliament oversight the executive. Similarly, executive oversight parliament, and vis-a-vis the judiciary. So you don't need to try to separate these things in the house, that ODM are opposition, ODM are the minority. Of course, they are minority in terms of party, numbering of the party in the house. So the largest party and the second largest party, they form majority and minority. So Kimani Chungwa, who is the majority leader, is the one who should oversight the executive, not the other way around. So each and every Kenya is in the government because our constitution is a presidential system whereby everybody is in the government. That's why there was that provision of doctrine of separation of powers, checks and balances between the three arms of government. So ODM, KK, they are in government. So parliament should work in uniform, that they oversight at the executive, not the other way around, that they are going to division people along tribe in the parliament. I think that's my take.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so today, His Excellency, the former Premier, was in Siaya, and he gave a speech there. I wanted to play that, and then I'll ask you some questions on that.
Came up with a very, very progressive constitution. That constitution was bastardized to a certain extent during the so-called Naivasha process. We must go back to the Bomas draft constitution, put it back on the table, and see what needs to be cleaned up so that we can have a progressive constitution. So you said, therefore, that it's on the basis of that kind of elaborate process that we can then talk about a government of national unity. But then you say that if you want to take some of our experts and get into your government, you release them to join your government and work in accordance with the ethics of our party, ODM and Azimio. This is what you said. You have not changed. This position has not changed. We said we want to see a new Kenya, and the people of Kenya are entitled to it. And that's why we said we agree with Gen Z in their demands. Gen Z demands are the demands of the people of Kenya.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Barak, I want to hear your thought on what you've just seen, and then Miguda will pick.
Well, I think Raila is taking us back to the year 2003 when we had the Bomas conference. And the result of Bomas conference, I think the constitution making process that was the Bomas conference, those proposals that were there in Bomas conference were diluted along the way in what we call Kilifi draft, that resulted into Wako draft that was rejected in 2005 referendum. Then that led to the what happened in 2007, the 2008 post-election violence, and now the people started that process again because the recommendations of Kriegler Commission was that we come up with a new constitution so that will make everybody feel that they belong to this country, that sense of belonging. And that is why that's how we ended up with the 2010 constitution. And now when the parliamentary select committee on the constitution making, when they retreated to Naivasha to come up with this constitution, the final draft that went to the referendum, if you listen to the Zamba Kitonga commission, they say that the recommendation that were that especially on executive structure were diluted by this parliamentary select committee in Naivasha. And people who are in that committee were the likes of Uhuru Kenyatta, Musalia Mudavadi, William Ruto, Martha Karua. All these guys were there because it is only the president, the late Mwai Kibaki, and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who are not there. But all these other guys, like the whole cabinet was there in Naivasha, because those days cabinet ministers were also members of parliament, and they used to occupy these powerful committees because because of how significant these committees were at that in those days. So these people who are crying foul right now, majority of them, they were in that committee, and those are the people who watered down major provisions of the 2010 constitution before it came to referendum. And they did that because of their own political interest, or because of their political affiliation. Because those days, whatever the PNU side preferred, the pure, even this pure presidential system, it is the PNU side that preferred, and that is why how we ended up with a presidential system. Because I know Raila initially preferred a parliamentary system or a hybrid system, where we have a prime minister who is at the head of government and a president who is the head of state, and that did not go very well with the people who are on the PNU side. And that's how we ended up with a pure presidential system, which has not been working very well for us as a society. Even if you look at how we've been voting and the results that have been, country has been voting like almost in the middle. From 2013, 2017, 2022, the country has always been divided and right in the middle after every presidential election. And this, being an African society that is so fragile, I don't think it is a good thing for us. So I don't think it's a bad idea to revisit, because the constitution is meant to work for the people, not the people to work for the constitution. And if something is not working for the society, then it's upon the members of that society to sit down and have a relook of that particular constitution. What is it that is not working for us, and what can we change to ensure that it serves our interests and not that we serve the interests of the constitution? Because I believe we borrowed from the American Constitution, especially on this governance structure, and we did not underline that our society is totally different from American society. For example, in Kenya, when number two, the person who comes second in presidential election with almost equal votes with the president, and this person is rendered irrelevant because he is not going to parliament to be the leader of opposition. He's not going to have any other position, just going home. Does it go well with the supporters of this person? Take an example of the 2022 election when Ruto won with around 200,000 votes. That was the difference between Ruto and Raila. And now Raila, according to the constitution, he just goes back home. Nothing. He has nothing to do. He now no role to play in the governance. So you find that in America, because those institutions, they were inbuilt. They came up with these structures there in their own, and they allow them to grow and to mature in their society. And right now, it is serving their society. That's why even if you look at the 2016 election between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, when Hillary Clinton won the majority vote in terms of universal suffrage, and Donald Trump won the electoral college, and Donald Trump became the president according to their own constitution, and there was nothing Hillary Clinton could do. She just gave up and went, and up to now she has never vied again. But it is very different with here in Kenya. People will not just give up because the runners up to the presidential election who had more universal suffrage votes than the president. So you see, these things that work in the US, I believe in Africa we still have, especially in Kenya, we still have challenges with them. So it is time, it is time for us as a society. I agree with Raila in that. Can we just have a relook of our governance structure, especially this, how we elect our leaders? Is it really working for us, or are we supposed to make some changes? We don't have, okay, it's not necessary that we go back to the Bomas draft, because that will open a Pandora box, but we can just look at specific provisions, like in governance structure, at the representation that we have, and all this, even in the county government, even we have so many seats that we don't even need as a country. I don't believe that we need women representative seats, because these are the things that even increase the wage bill, and we start now struggling as a society with the wage bill. And this thing we brought them upon ourselves when we passed the 2010 constitution. Is it now? I think it's around 14 years. Can we say that maybe after 20 years, can we sit down and have a real look at this constitution? Is there any provision that we can change? Is there amendment that we can do, even if it means going back to the referendum and removing some seats, or even changing the governance structure so that it can serve our society better than the way it is doing right now? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Migude, you had the clip, or you've watched it. What's your take on the statements of His Excellency, the former Premier?
First, let me respond to one of our viewers who have asked that does it mean that the ODM, Wiper, ETL members in Ruto's government are going to lose their party's identity to officially become UDA? No. Once you are been appointed to the cabinet, you cease being a member of any political party as per our constitution. Those who are serving the cabinet, they are preferably serving for the Kenyans, so they don't need to belong to any political party for purposes of conflict of interest. So by the time you have been appointed, for instance, John Badi, Opio Andai, Joe and Oparanya has been appointed from ODM, they cease becoming members of ODM, and they should render their resignation letter to the party. Similarly, by the time Kaiseri, the late, was appointed by Uhuru Kenyatta to become the cabinet secretary for internal security, he ceased becoming member of ODM and he joined the cabinet. So in the cabinet, we don't have party affiliations. We believe that they are serving Kenyans because for the national treasury, it is called national treasury, not treasury, UDA treasury or ODM treasury. It is national treasury, treasury for the nation. So once you are in the cabinet to serve the people, you don't need to own any political party. You cease becoming a member of any political party. Coming to the clip which I've watched for Odinga, and I think Odinga is dishonest. Just to begin, Odinga, by the time people were drafting this 2010 constitution, advisors for Odinga advised Odinga that let us introduce an hybrid system because your opponent will be William Ruto. They saw someone like William Ruto. That time, Ruto and Raila had part ways. So they say, let us make this thing for your opponent. Raila declined and told his advisors that once I become president in 2013, I'll be the symbol of national unity. There's no need. Raila knew that he was going to become president, but the people told him, what if you don't become president? You will have to amend this constitution. Raila never listened. And today, Raila has not become president. So Raila is trying to just divert attention of people today in that clip. He just want to introduce BBI 2. We had BBI 1 failed, and BBI 2 is what Raila Odinga want to introduce right now. But let me disagree with Raila. We have the provisions in our constitution. Raila just said there that we need a progressive constitution. He's lying. Our constitution is very progressive. Look at Article 267, 268. There's a provisions on how to amend this constitution. There's amendment process. For instance, if you want to touch the structure of executive, you must go to the people for referendum. There's no way you can amend that structure. For example, if you want to introduce prime minister as the head of the government and president as the head of the state, you have to go to the people for referendum. There are those provisions, but there are some amendments which can be made in parliament. If you want to touch the public finance, you must go to the people. If you want to touch parliament, you want to touch devolution, you must go to the people. So Raila was aware of what he did by that time. Whatever he's trying to play right now is playing politics. Let him just be genuine that there's a negotiation between ODM and UDA to form government. And for instance, when power was devolved into the counties, purpose for this devolution was that power can come from central government to county levels. Even at the executive, we wanted to disperse that power. We do not want to give president much power. We wanted that this power should be divided from president to prime minister and 2 deputies for prime minister. The same Raila declined those proposals. So if he declines those proposals by then, now because the current presidential system has never favored him for the last 10 years, you want to bring those proposals again. And look at his age. For whose benefit now? Let him not play this politics of sometimes he declines, sometimes he accepts. These are just politics. But it is recorded very clearly that Raila declined the hybrid presidential system of this constitution. He believed that he was going to become president, but now he never became. So Raila is simply playing politics.
Okay, thank you. If you listen to that clip, the former premier is saying that he gave the government, that is the ruling party UDA, he gave them the experts, according to his statements. And now this is my question. Raila is saying that he gave his experts to the ruling government so that they would be appointed to be cabinet secretaries. Uh, the former governor of Kakamega and the former governor of Mombasa, they were all deputy party leaders of ODM. We also saw the appointment of the chairman of ODM, that's John Badi, and the minority leader, Opio Wandai. Now, my question to you is, from the statements of His Excellency Raila, he's saying that he gave the ruling government his experts. Does it mean that in the Republic of Kenya, where we have almost 55 million and above population, does it mean that we don't have technocrats or professionals or experts in these departments? And then my second question is, he ODM opposed this government because they were also they had their leader was also vying for the presidency. From the statement that the premier used here, he said very well again that the nominees who have been appointed to be the cabinet secretaries, that they will follow they will follow and listen to the ODM. They will work as per the ODM guidelines. Now, my question to you is, the constitution is very clear that once you are appointed to be a cabinet secretary, you cease to affiliate yourself with the party because of the issues of conflict of interest. Does it mean that as much as these people have been nominated, suppose they are vetted and given them a go ahead, a green light, does it mean that they will be getting instructions from the former premier? Because from the statement that he's giving, or these are just comments that he's trying to use to confuse the people to realign themselves and accept the reality? Mr. Barak.
Well, I think according to our constitution, the president is the head of government and the head of state, and we have only one government. So there is no way that one government that is in that belongs to this republic is formed by Kenya Kwanza coalition, or you can basically say UDA is the one that has formed government. So therefore, you cannot have some members of the government following a different ideology from the rest. That will cause confusion, and it is not acceptable unless it is a parliamentary system where different parties have come together to form a government that is led by the prime minister. It is happening in even South Africa, where different parties have come together to form government. It will also happen sometimes in Britain, even in Israel. Right now, it's happening in Israel. But since we are a presidential system, and right now the head of state is a member of a UDA, therefore it is his ideology that these people are going to follow. We don't have an ODM government right now, and therefore that it was just a political statement. Raila was playing to the gallery because sometimes as a politician, having in mind that he was in Siaya County with even Orengo around, and Orengo was totally opposed to this idea of having ODM members in the cabinet. So he was just playing to the gallery so that those people hear. He knew what they wanted to hear, and he told them what they needed to hear. But that is not the truth. These people are going to serve under the leadership of William Ruto as the president. And the cabinet, they're what we call there's that whatever you discuss in cabinet, it becomes a secret of the cabinet. They call it collective responsibility, where you don't start discussing issues outside. So you can't tell me that the four guys who are going to discuss the government in Orange House, and they come back to State House and they start telling the president different things. That is not going to happen, and it cannot happen. Therefore, that was just he was just playing to the gallery. I don't think there's any other way to put it.
Okay, Mr. Mikuda, your thought on the statements of the former premier that he gave the UDA or the ruling government experts, and that they will be working as per the ethics of the ODM.
I think I told you that former premier is dishonest, and you can see. Same Raila told us that those people who have joined government, they have joined on their own volition. You see, and today he confirmed to us that it is him who has given them that authority to join government. So one person's double speaking, you see, is the king of double speak. The other day he said, no, we as ODM, we don't know, they have joined on their own volition. We wish them all well. Today he has confirmed that we as ODM, we have given them authority to join that government. And if you want to know those names of people who Raila has presented to President William Ruto, they are his friends. John Mbadi, his friend. Opiyo Wandayi, his friend. Close friends, close allies. You know, the Gen Zs were complaining that Ruto, if you are president, stop appointing your friends. So you can see, even Raila has got an opportunity to present names. He has only presented his friends. So these politicians are the same. Ruto is Raila, Raila is Ruto. Ruto has appointed his friends, Raila has presented his friends. Ruto, master of double speak, Raila, king of double speak. So former prime minister is an old man. He should not be dishonest at his age. And if he's playing politics, yes, we understand that is how politics works. Let him play his politics. But we are up to date. We are aware. We are not our parents. They have look at where they were raised people at here in that village. So they think that everyone is stupid who is not following them. We are following them keenly, whatever they say each and every day. That's why we are able to put them into accountable. Former prime minister should stop being dishonest, and he should stop proposing his friends to the cabinet. So we can't criticize Ruto and praising Raila. We are criticizing all of them. That's why we have said Ruto, Raila must go. Both of them must go. That's why we say that we want to get overhaul of the whole system. You can see Raila is now lying to Luos at SIA that we have given them experts because they have failed. Look at these experts. These are close allies of Raila. They are going to present Raila's interests the way Ruto's friends are presenting Ruto's interests in the cabinet. And that collective responsibility for cabinet, whereby you don't need to disclose any secret in that cabinet to the public. Raila is privy to that information because he has like 4 men in that cabinet. So it's privy to those information. So it simply means that these guys, they are friends, Ruto and Raila. So Raila has come to rescue his friend, to save his friend from collapsing. I do not
Okay.
trust these politicians.
Okay, thank you. The fired yes, that is Moses Kuria. There's a statement that he made, and he was clearly trying to elaborate the problems that they were facing as cabinet secretaries. And again, the people of Kenya have been talking, especially the supporters of ODM party. Some of them are saying that the positions which they were given by the president, they were given, it's like a trap to them because if we look at the appointment that the president gave to the ODM party, these are dockets that had issues of incapabilities. And again, these are dockets which require a lot of good leadership. If you start first analyzing the treasury given to Honorable Mbadi, the treasury is where things to do with the tax, finance, and everything comes from there. And from the demonstrations that we had, the young people were demonstrating because of the high taxes. That is one of the things that made them to go to the street, the issues of finance. Now it's been given to the ODM guy. And if you followed keenly how Honorable Mbadi was speaking about the finance docket and the treasury, he used to give good advices. But since he was not in the government, there was no one to actualize that. Now that he's been given this, do you really think Mbadi would manage the treasury? We are being told that they are the experts in the ODM. But again, does it really mean, from where you see it, is it like a trap? Because if you also look at the mining sector, which was given to Honorable Pierre Wandai, under that docket, we've got the issue of fuel, of which it keeps increasing, and there's a possibility that it might increase in the coming future. And from where we see it, it is true that whenever the prices of fuel goes high, everything gets high. All prices of any commodity gets high. Does it mean that if the prices of oil or fuel will be now going up, will the president or the people supporting the president, will they say that these people, while they were in the position, they cried and said that we were mismanaging the people of Kenya? Now that should he fail, will it carry all the burden and say that we gave those dockets to the ODM party? Let them let them be answerable. Are they going to use this kind of wordings when it comes to when they'll be going for 2027 general election? Mr. Barak, what's your take on that?
For me, I think that's a pedestrian way of looking at things, the way Moses Kuria was saying. Because as far as I'm concerned, it is Ruto who was on the ballot, wanting to be the president of this country, not Mbadi, not Mbawandai, not anybody else. And he was given the mandate to lead the country. So if anything goes wrong, he's the one to carry the whole blame upon his shoulders. And the prices of fuel are not determined by the ministers for energy. Even you remember when Uhuru was in his sunset days of his regime, I don't even remember who was the minister for energy then. After Keter left to go to look for the Kericho gubernatorial election. But the blame was always on the president, because it is the president who leads, who is the head of government, and anything going wrong in the government, it is the president who takes political responsibilities. He is the one who hires and fires cabinet secretaries. So he cannot come and start blaming cabinet secretary in 2027 and saying that I gave this person the job he didn't. He's just admit that he failed to do his job, because he is the one who is the head. And once there is for example, look at the finance bill, the mess that it causes in this country. People, I know even some people don't even remember that Professor Jugundu was the CS for Treasury, because the blame was at people place the blame as the door of the president, because he's the one who brought in Juguna Dung as the Treasury CS, and he's the one who has brought in Mbadi as the Treasury CS. These guys didn't just walk in there on their own. So he's the one who will take responsibility in case things don't go the way Kenyans expect. And I know people, someone like Kuria, and the way he speaks, sometimes you might just see that he's not genuine with whatever he's saying, because he has been serving as the CS for the last 20 months. And he messed up in trade and industrialization. In the public service, he tried to introduce something very saying that public servants all of them should serve under contract, and permanent and pensionable should be scrapped off, which did not go very well with the majority of the people, because even that was also unconstitutional. So all this mess that he also created when he was a CS, I think those are the reasons why I believe he's even at home right now. He was not recalled because he was not working accordingly, serving the people of Kenya. Because you cannot tell people, public servants, that you will be working on contractual basis, where the constitution provides that these people should work as on permanent and pensionable basis. So I don't believe that the president will have a leeway, or will use these members of ODM as scapegoat come 2027, because he will be answerable. to the all the promises that he made in this in 2022, and even he's still going on to make other promises. Whether they are delivered or not, he will have to answer to the people of Kenya, and he will not use anybody as a scapegoat. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mekuda. Among things that Kuria was saying, he said that under his docket there was they lost some money which was coming from the Hustler Fund. They tried following, according to his statement, they never managed to get it. And this position has been given now to the former governor of Kakamega, Mr. Paranya. And from the statements of Korea again, you're saying that it is like a trap to these guys. What is your take on that?
Moses Kuria's argument, I could term it as a political argument. It is not logical argument because Moses Kuria maybe he has not moved on from the dismissal by president. He's still having some hangovers over the cabinet. Even in that treasury, the treasury does not make budget. Budget is being made in parliament. Even the finance committee sits in parliament. Even in parliament, we have the energy committee. So executive, their work is very simple, just to implement the administrative work. That's what they're doing. They're implementing whatever that has been made by parliament. Moses Kuria making that, I could term as a political argument because Moses Kuria saying that we have given the ODM treasury energy. So if they fail, they have that to be blamed. I think the buck stopped with the president. There's no way people will demonstrate that Badi must go or Opio and I must go. People will just demonstrate Ruto must go, Ruto must go. The buck stopped with the president, not these cabinet secretaries. Moses Kure just making a political argument because Raila might lose a AUC and might come back. And Raila is addicted in running for presidency. He might want to run again. So they are just trying to. These are just political arguments so that they can find something to campaign against Raila come 2027. That now we gave you treasury, we gave you energy, you did not deliver, you sank our government, you came behind back door, and you didn't do us favor. You are the one who made us to fail. Now we want to make our people. So that is a cheap argument by Moses Kuria. I don't want to talk much about it.
Okay, thank you for that comment. We've always seen the president has started moving throughout the country. The other time it was in Tarakaditi, the other day it was the coastal region, and we've seen him. He has started speaking to the people while he's on top of his vehicles. And among the things that he's telling the people is like we are now back on the campaign mode because he's continued with the promises that he started giving while he was campaigning. We've seen him whenever he go to any place, he's been promising them of good development, and we are waiting to see. And again, he's been saying that the young people should give him time to actualize the issues that they had presented. But again, we also saw the former Premier Raila laid the same. He told the president that as much as they got into as much as he gave him the experts that he nominated to be the cabinet secretaries, he should listen to the young people. And he also said that the issues which are being raised by the young people, these are issues that they had presented via the BPI, via the NADCO, that these things, these issues are just a copy paste of what he had been presenting. So the president has the mandate to first listen to the young people, of which the young people are saying they have to release all those people who are arrested and also withdraw the cases which are still pending in the courts. The young people are fighting for justice for the fallen people who died while demonstrating. But again, they're also trying to remind the government to stop the issue of discrimination and also the rampant corruption. Raila says in his comments while he was in here today that these are things that he had been raising every now and then, and that he's given the president the mandate he has asked the president to work on that because the president has the mandate to do that. But now my question to you is, do you really think the president is going to listen and to actualize these pleas of the young people? Because we've seen him starting to implement, among which appointment of the cabinet secretaries. We did not see, as per the expectations of the young people, appointment of young people in that cabinet. We only saw one, but again, we saw the recycling of cabinet secretaries whom the young people had problems with. Maybe your take on that, Barak?
Well, in terms of Ruto implementing anything that people are talking about, on a scale of 0 to 10, I think I'll give him 2 out of 10, because he has proven that he's very good in promising and talking, but when it comes to implementing, it becomes another problem. I don't have a problem with anybody who is appointed to the cabinet. Personally, I have a problem with the number. I was convinced that Ruto will bring in only 14 CSS as a matter of as a matter of saying that we should start living within our means. I think that could have been a bold step towards convincing the public that he's very serious when he's saying that we are living within our means. These 14 could have been anybody as long as they are competent. I don't mind about the age. I don't mind about the where these people are coming from, but I just mind about the number, because as you can have someone who is young or old, but their competence will bring result to, and you will be able to get services that you require as a common man or as a normal citizen. Now, the difference of 7, or let me say 8, is very huge in terms of cabinet secretaries, because when you talk about wage bill, you are talking about benefits of these people, the mortgages, the car loans, everything. Because I don't know why it's so difficult for us as a country to run an executive with 14 cabinet secretaries. I don't know why it is so difficult. And we have some countries that are so huge in terms of population, in terms of GDP, in terms of economic power, running government with around 14 CSS. Even sometimes some countries are running government with less CSS. If you look at like electoral commission that we are having so many commissioners. I don't know if there were 8 or how many. The last one there were 7, because we had Cherera 4 and Chebukati 3. So you find that we have some countries that have like even 2, even 1, 2 or 3 and 1 electoral commission, because you don't have to. I don't know why we believe in big numbers, and we are struggling financially. Therefore, if Ruto could have appointed 14 CSS and say that, to demonstrate to the public that as executive we are starting to live within our means, we are going to merge some ministries to make them departments and have 14 CSS. That could have been a bold statement, and from there I could have believed that he is listening and is going to implement something. But because he failed that, and I think right now we have 21 CSS waiting to be vetted. To me, that was a disappointment, and it doesn't bring any confidence in me that Ruto can implement anything that the public is yearning for. Thank you.
Okay. Miguda, are you satisfied with the implementations that the government or the president is doing? Is it up to what the young people are calling for, or what's your take? Do you see him do as per the will of the people, or is somehow in a reluctant mode, or is he still lying to the people?
The president should update himself with the 2010 constitution, and that's why we have a problem with him. I think the president is still operating with the repeal constitution. The president trying to move across the country, Tarakaniti, Mombasa, meeting people, unveiling projects. That is not the role of the president. I think the president is trying to stamp authority for the previous events that have unfolded in this country, the Gen Z revolution. So he's trying to move to the along across the country to stamp authority that is the president, is the commander in chief of the armed forces and unarmed forces. But those tricks are not going to work because president is trying to play the same script Moi played. You know, Moi, whenever he was in crisis, he used to form committee. President tried to form a committee to audit our budgets. Those are tricks which were played by Moi. Right now, he's moving across the country, stamping authority that I'm the president, I'm the head of the state, commander in chief of the armed forces. I remember by the time we had a coup, 1982 coup, after General Mahmoud Mohammed has ensured that everything has come to normal. Moi moved from Kabarak, Nakuru, to Nairobi and inspect guard of honor right in the CBD. He wanted to stamp authority that I'm the president, there is no coup has happened. But after I think a year, the people who were involved, the likes of Ochuka and the friends who went to exile in Tanzania, they were brought back in Kenya, but they were hanged. So they were never forgiven. President Ruto is trying to bring back the country to normalcy, the way Moi did, so that after we have come back to normal, he will come to us one by one, those people who are leading this demonstration or this revolution. And if you want to deal with us the way Moi used to do, but thank to God, 2010 Constitution, he is not going to do that one. He's not going to kill anybody. He's not going to arrest anybody because even death sentence is not in our constitution. It's not in our laws. We have Bill of Rights and Fundamental Freedoms, Chapter 4. There's that right to life. And even President Uhuru, there's what we call presidential commutation, whereby a president can commutate those prisoners who have been sentenced for death sentence to life imprisonment. So in 2016, President Uhuru commutate around 2,400 plus prisoners who were convicted in the death sentence to life imprisonment. And also our Supreme Court in 2017 pronounced itself clearly that death sentence is unconstitutional. So this script of Mr. Ruto, we have it. All his moves we have. There is no way a president can. What is it that is moving Tarakaniti, Mombasa, unveiling projects? We have governors, we have cabinet secretaries, we have members of parliament, and the budget is being made in parliament. The president should is the head of the state. Let him be in the central seat, Nairobi, in the state house, in the Arambe house, so that he can receive briefings, he can receive reports, he can act on those things. So I don't think the president is having a goodwill for the people, or maybe he still apply that repeal constitution. So let him update himself with this our 2010 constitution so that it can work for us.
Okay, fine. Thank you. We've seen a group of people presenting a case that they want the president to be dismissed, that the president should resign because among the pleas or the issues that they're raising are that the president has gone against the constitution and that the parliament is not legally constituted. What's your take in this? Do you think this is one of cases which is being coming truly from the people, or is one that is just threatening? And what do you think? What's your take? If suppose the court finds that, of course, the president has gone against the constitution, do you really think it will take the bold decision to tell the president to resign or to dismiss the president? Maybe you'll tackle that, and then after that, I'll give you time to each of you give his last remark, and then maybe we'll just end the show.
Well,
Bharat, it's your turn.
okay, I don't think in the constitution we have a provision for that gives the court powers to dismiss the president. I don't think in our constitution is there, and if it's there, I've not come across it yet. And I think the powers to dismiss the president belongs to the people through election. or the parliament through impeachment does not give that power to the High Court to dismiss the president. And if the president has violated the constitution, the parliament can impeach him, but not the court to dismiss him. You remember even when during the chief and when now to parliament, you remember during Chief Justice Maraga, he advised the president, the former president Uhuru Kenyatta, to dissolve parliament, the 12th parliament, because it was not legally constitutional in terms of gender representation. So he said that it was not constitutional. But the 12th parliament just served its full life because Uhuru just ignored that advice from Maraga. So I think activists sometimes they just want to invoke some to go to the courts, maybe to get some mileage or but it's also because we are a democratic society. The political space is open. People can explore various options, but others are not practical because they are requesting the court to dismiss the president. I think that is not practical because it's not constitutional. And the court, the role of the court is to interpret the laws, and I think also to arbitrate. So I don't think that is possible in terms of parliament being unconstitutionally constituted. I think that what maybe we can leave to them to advise the president either to dissolve it or not to dissolve according to how they will interpret the law. Yeah, thank you.
Kamikuda, your take on that?
My take on that is that let me just go back to the doctrines of separation of powers, checks, and balances. The president cannot be dismissed by the judiciary, but the judiciary can check the president in two ways. One, it is the chief justice that swears in the president. So by doing so, is checking the executive. Again, the Supreme Court hear and determine presidential election petition. Through hearing and determination of the presidential election petition, it checks the executive because it can dismiss that election. It can nullify that election. The previous one for Uhuru versus Odinga, whereby Chief Justice Emeritus Maraga dismissed that these elections were null and void. So Supreme Court can dismiss and nullify presidential election petition. So through those doctrine of separation of powers, checks and balances, the judiciary can check the executive. When it comes to the reason why president cannot be charged, I think there is a provision in law that you can't charge the president while he's serving in the office, because at what time will he be in court and at what time will he be in office to serve the people of Kenya? So you wait until he goes out of that office, then you can charge him later as a former president. But while he's in office, you cannot charge him. This also applies to deputy president. There were some charges for Rigathi Gachagua. I think they were strike off because he is the deputy president. So you don't need to, you wait until he's out of that office so that you can charge him or her. So the president can, but the issue of any person can go to court because in Article 47, there's this fair administrative action whereby every person has a right to go to court. You can argue your cause, you can argue your case so long as it is lawful. It should be expeditious, very fast. It should be efficient. So they're just with their constitutional right to move to court to argue their case, but dead on arrival. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Before I give you a chance to say your last remarks, we saw there were some nominees in the IBC. The process of nominating, we saw after the NATCO, there was an agreement that the political side should come up with the nominee, that is the opposition and the ruling party. The professionals in the field of accountants were supposed to come with one, and then the LSK. So from the list that we have, only the LSK has not done their nomination, and a good number of lists has been given. We also saw that there was a proposal that the number be increased from 7 to 9. We are hopeful that, from what my brother said, Mr. Barak, say that he doesn't understand the reason why they keep on increasing the number instead of reducing, because the president uh, gave a statement that they're trying is imploring the people of Kenya to live within their means, and him as the president was showing the way, but we've not seen that. I think again the reason why we keep on increasing the number of people, especially in the IBC, is because of the issues of trust. In Kenya, we don't trust each other because the level of, do we say, the moral in us sometimes does not allow us to live within our means. So maybe I wanted to hear your take on that, and then we've seen the president moving throughout the country, and he nominated a good number of ODM. And these people, remember, they come with they have got followers, and they have been holding uh, high. They've been, I mean, they've been leaders in their respective in the ODM party. Does this, from where you see, does it is it really going to change the political scenario in the republic? Because so far from what we've seen, we saw the people of some people in Lowland were celebrating that their guys, their members of their member of parliament had been nominated to become the cabinet secretary. What's your take? Is it going to continue this way until 2027?
Yeah, hello. So in terms of the issue of IBC, I think this issue of mistrust will cost us as a country for a very long time. This is because even if you look at the cost of our election, the cost of our election is very high in this region, even I think in the whole of Africa. And it's because of the issue of trust. We don't trust ourselves. We don't trust our people that have been put in a place to oversee our election. We don't trust even the electoral process. We don't trust anyone and everyone. And in the midst of that mistrust, we end up using a lot of money because of very simple processes. And now you look at now the commissioners want to increase them to 9, and you'll find that it's because of mistrust, the way you put it. And I think if we don't deal with this issue of trust, we are going to have a very big problem as a country, even going forward. And I think just to revive and this issue of, you see, the Gen Z say that we are leaderless, we are partyless. It is because of trust. We don't trust that even if we have a leader today, this leader might be a sellout. He might be bought by the state, and then will be left on our own. So this issue of trust as a country is going to cost us if you're not very careful. And even the president, you see, the president has lost trust completely. The public has lost trust completely by the president. And you see the president even moving around saying everything. Nobody takes him serious because nobody trusts him anymore. And even the government, we don't trust the government. So it's a big problem. And a society that does not have trust, they end up using a lot of resources to solve very simple challenges that they could have used very, very small resources. So I believe that even if we have the whole country overseeing elections and there is no trust, still will still not believe the result. Even if you have 2 commissioners overseeing the electoral process and we have trust, we will believe the outcome. So it is just a matter of trust issues, and that's why you see all this push and pull. And you see the LSK, I think they should be able to present their representative to the panel, so that the process of identifying this commissioner starts. We have pending by-elections in these countries that we are supposed to carry out, because we don't want to have a section of this country who are paying taxes and they don't have representation in parliament. By the way, it's against the law, because you cannot be paying taxes without representation. You've seen right now we are going to have a by-election in Ugunja. We need IBC to be in place so that the people of Ugunja can have representation in parliament, so that as they continue to pay taxes, they will have representation in
Maybe before
parliament.
even talk about Ogonja, there's a member of parliament who died was it in July 2023? The Banisa member
Yeah,
of parliament. Up to date, they are
yeah,
not having representative, and that also comes us to the this question now. Even following the constitution, because anybody in that constituency, they have a right. Anyone can go to court and then say that the government has neglected them, and of course that would be true. It's more than a year they've not had a representative. Even in this issue of finance, they have a right to go to the court and say that they were not represented, that their voices were not heard. So I think the government should expedite this issue of ABC, so that, because it's a very vital docket that needs to be in place.
yeah,
Maybe you
yeah. And
can.
that's what and that's why I said it is unconstitutional for you to continue paying taxes without representation. It is not as a democratic society. It is not in order for that to happen. And I think the people of Bandisa have been have been paying taxes without representation for more than 1 year, which is against the law. So it is I think the LSK should just forward their nominee to their representative to the panel, so that this process it's kickstarts and it's brought to a close as soon as possible, so that we carry out this by election. I believe even we have so many wards without MCAs across the country, that they are just waiting for the IBC to be constituted, so that they can carry out those by election in those wards. And and in terms of those people who are nominated to the cabinet, I believe that we've seen this issue of homeboy mentality has really played a big role after this nomination. That's why you saw the people of Mombasa. Ruto went to Mombasa on was it on Thursday, after going to Tharaka Nithi, and you see he was welcomed like a king, because he has appointed one of their own to the cabinet. And you see, this issue of homeboy mentality is really taking shape in this country. And you saw even the people of Homa Bay, they really celebrated the appointment of Badi to the cabinet. And you see even you see Ruto moving across the country, especially targeting where he appointed people to the cabinet. It's just like he's preparing the ground for 2027 election. And that even the rallies that he's having, it's like he's already in a campaign mood. He's preparing the ground for campaign of 2027, which I think should not be the case at this time, because right now this country, there's a lot that is need to be done. Ruto has a lot to do even before 2027. He has a lot. The promises that he promised the country in 2022, even a quarter has not been real. Even now, let me say, even a 1/10 has not been met yet. Even the hustler fund that he campaigned telling people that he would come up with a hustler fund to help the hustlers, he has been some funds was not able to be accounted for, and this is all about corruption. So he has a lot to do for this country before 2027. So I think that even those nominees, they should just hold their horses, so that at least they get vetted and start working and see how things will unfold before we start preparing the country and putting the country in an electioneering period. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miguda. Your take on that before we end the show.
First, let me respond to Jeep Saikona. I thought the House of Senators had powers for vote of no confidence of a president. Yeah, I think our viewer is in the United States of America, because they are used to Congress. Here in Kenya, there is no Congress. Here in Kenya, National Assembly is the upper house, is the one that has that power to initiate an impeachment for the president. Our senators are just oversighting our counties. They don't have that role to impeach the president. It's the National Assembly that can impeach the president. I want to talk about the Commission of Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission. You know, in our constitution, we have commissions and independent offices. We have two independent offices. That is the Office of the Auditor General and the Control of Budget. And we have many commissions. Just to mention but a few, we have the Parliamentary Service Commission, Judicial Service Commission, Public Service Commission, Revenue Allocation Commission, Salary and Remuneration Commission, and also we have the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission. So in the framework of our constitution, we have three arms of government, but commissions do form fourth arm of the government. So it's very sad to see that one of the commissions is not constituted currently. So I heard that they have invited civil societies, professionals, religious leaders to constitute a panel so that they can select that commissions. There should be public participation to ensure that members of public are also engaged so that we can give our views for those people who want. And I will also propose that this one is still not going to work. Let us have a new framework on how we can conduct our elections. Let us discuss about our electoral process, whereby where do we declare our results? Is it polling station? Is it constituency level or national tallying centers? Or let us do away with national tallying centers, because appointing commission, whether from 6, 7, 9, 15, doesn't solve our problems. Let us decide on how are our elections going to be accurate, simple, and fair and transparent. Those are the arguments we should argue for now. But let us just hurry a little to constitute this one so that we can get our people to those people who have no representation. For instance, the people who lost their MPs, their MCAs, they should have their representations in they have a right to be represented. So let us just constitute this one. But let us also have in mind that commissions, they do form fourth arm of government. So they should not be whereby we are operating as a nation, one of the commission is not constituted. That is why we went to demonstrate in those roadsides, because this government is defunct. We want it to be functional government. The issue of you asking about president moving across the country, purely politics, nothing much.
Okay, thank you. Let me take this opportunity to thank all our viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for commenting. We ask you to continue supporting us and to like and share. You can invite your friends so that they also be part of BBM, because here we say your opinion matters and it also counts. So maybe let me take now this opportunity to give my guest first. But then, thank you so much for coming over. Let me take this opportunity to give each one of you a time to say their last remarks before we end the show. Thank you. Maybe Barak, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mark and Miguda for tonight's show, and all our viewers for joining us for this evening session. For us, my last word is just let us stay vigilant. We are the people who decides the future of this country. We are the ones who make the future that we want for this country. So let us be vigilant. Let us stay put. Let us not lose focus. Let us not be carried away by politicians, their pronouncements, their promises, whatever their appointments. Let us just be vigilant so that we don't lose focus and leave our future in the hands of our politicians. Until next time, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Barak. Megoda, what's your final remarks?
I'm grateful to our panelists for this wonderful time. They have dedicated themselves to air their views in their own opinion without any fear or contradiction. And I'd also like to thank our viewers for those people who are consistent, those who have been commenting, sharing. Thank you so much. And also let us subscribe, because the numbers are increasing day by day, and we're very grateful. They're not taken for granted. Through subscription, we can go further, we can bring more analysis, and also we can further our goals as a nation. Because through this, because you have seen now, there is no opposition in this country. So through this social media, we are the opposition. So kindly support us so that we can ensure that we put our country on the right direction. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Also grateful that you all came. To our supporters, thank you so much. And I'm wishing you a blessed evening or night. Thank you so much. We'll be there. We'll try to always come and do what is required of us. Thank you so much. Have a blessed evening.